For at least 12,000 years, this continent was home. Full stop. Hundreds of nations. Complex governments. Sophisticated trade. Deep spirituality rooted in land, ancestors, and ceremony. And then, just a little over 500 years ago, a different story forced itself in. We call it discovery. That word erases more than it reveals. When Columbus arrived in 1492, he didn't find an empty world. He met the Taino, converts' labor possession. Christianity wasn't offered, it was leveraged. What followed wasn't a spiritual exchange, it was a system: enslavement, disease, forced tribute, and violence that shredded Taino society within decades. A generation later, Jacques Cartier sails up the St. Lawrence, plants crosses, claims land for the king and, implicitly, for the church. That cross was a boundary marker, but also a battering ram. It signaled that one faith would stand over many, and that indigenous spiritual traditions, Mi'kmaq, Stadaconan Iroquoians, and beyond, would be targeted as obstacles to be removed. Here's the hard truth. Faith became a tool of empire. Missionaries and officials often moved in lockstep. Traditional ceremonies were banned or burned, sacred objects seized, spiritual leaders punished. Governance shifted, councils undermined, matriarchs sidelined, patriarchal norms imported. And then came schools, residential in Canada, boarding in the US, run largely by Christian denominations. Their goal was written plainly: kill the Indian in the child. Languages forbidden, haircut, names replaced, punishments and abuse that echo through generations. This wasn't conversion, it was cultural demolition framed as salvation. Layer on top the pandemics, smallpox, measles, influenza, tearing through communities with no immunity. When traditional healing couldn't stop an invisible wave, missionaries claimed an answer. Desperation met doctrine, and the ground tilted further. So when we celebrate discoverers, what exactly are we celebrating? Genocide enabled by disease and violence. Cultural erasure pressed by law and scripture. Land theft justified by a theology of supremacy. This isn't about erasing history, it's about telling it honestly. Because for more than 12 millennia, indigenous peoples thrived here. And in just over 5 centuries, colonization tried to rewrite that entire story. Today, truth looks like this. Recognize indigenous sovereignty, not as a favor, but as inherent. Decolonize our narratives. Teach histories that center indigenous voices, not just European journals. Support reconciliation that's concrete. Language revitalization, land stewardship, mental health resources, the search for missing children from school grounds, accountability that actually means something. The land we call North America was never discovered. It was already known, intimately, generationally, ceremonially. If we want a future that's just, we have to stop celebrating the beginning of a wound. We confront it, we name it, we learn from it, and we honor those who are still here, speaking their languages, leading their nations, restoring what was meant to be destroyed. History is only honest when it counts the cost. Ours starts by retiring the myth of discovery and listening to the people who are always here.